Hello, this is Patrick, and today I'm going to do something different. I wanted to talk about, there's so much. I have thousands of topics to talk about where we're going as a planet, as a civilization, as a country, as a people, and what the soul needs. Now, the country has a soul. The United States has a soul. A people, a race has a soul. Individuals have a soul. And understanding that allows us to communicate better and understand ourselves better. And I wanted to talk about this concept. One, I don't mind that I only get 100 views sometimes. I know YouTube and Google censors things, some of it manually. My dowsing shows it's manually done with me sometimes on certain videos. I've actually had some videos I put on very high frequency video because of the topic, and then within hours I have a hit to go look at it and it's like really bad. It's like the people took offense, and that's who these dark individuals are, especially in Silicon Valley government. They're all really dark. They see the American citizen as the enemy, as something to be controlled. And this probably started in the modern era after World War I with Tavistock. And you will remember Tavistock was very oddly, it was really the first psychological tool, in this case the British government used. They were trying to figure out how to get all the soldiers to go back to the trenches because they would have shell shock from the artillery shells coming in and they couldn't function anymore. And they go, well, this is really inconvenient when your whole army is running, and because shells were what they did to people and the wounds they were getting. So they wanted to psychologically put band-aids on them to put them back into war. Anyway, Tavistock, that program survived the war because they understood psychologically you can control people and you can make them believe something that's not in their best interest, i.e. get back into a foxhole. That's not in your best interest. So it went on and on and on, and it played a big role in the 60s, and I would venture to say, and I'm going out on a limb here, that the whole human potential the whole human potential movement itself is satanic, because it's all about going inward. And I was at a retreat center many years ago, 30 years ago, where it was basically a human potential movement. And I've always been more of a spiritual, all-encompassing, have the soul. Though I venture inward, I'm part of the whole, and they get to participate, the other souls coming in. The human potential movement, which is basically atheists. They don't believe in anything external from your body, your soul. That's what they're kind of thinking. There's nothing there. So what they're going to do, and I've seen psychiatrists and psychologists in particular, they get all bent out of shape about it, because you're talking about high frequency energies, let's say ETs, even ghosts, your ancestors coming back to visit you and things and helping you out. They would never ever say that's possible. They would never say you can go to a vortex, let's say a sacred site that was high frequency, and it could help heal you. It could help bring about a vision quest in your quest for, or any of these things. They see that as an external evil. It's not true. You can't scientifically prove it. And that's and of course science will always say you can't prove God or a divine order in the universe, let's say. So those are and it's probably why the university system is collapsing right now, is because the structure is so based on the scientific method. It actually went beyond the scientific method. They don't use the scientific method anymore, especially in all these, I would say, the liberal arts, which was really, really good before. It's now like made up articles. They don't, in one particular one that was made up was, I told you, Masters and Johnson's, you remember? So the whole sexual revolution is based on that study, and it was all fraudulent, 75% we dowsed. We found that Johnson was a lower consciousness, vibration, but the man, which was Masters, I couldn't find any soul. I couldn't find a soul there. There's no light. That's very, very rare. There's always a little bit of light. Hitler had a little tiny light up to 1933, and then you can't find any. You know, he's probably possessed, or another a dark entity came in, obviously, and took him over completely. So this is the backdrop of a lot of this, what I'm talking about, where I'm going to talk about today. It's hard to know, but the university system, the way it's set up now, is really a great toehold for Luciferic philosophy, satanic philosophy. And there's all these, and that's what they push on all the networks, in the movies. The movies are extremely dark now. The music is extremely dark, extremely sophisticated. They actually have ceremonies where they take the master record and they do ceremonies on it when it's completed on top of that. So you're really dealing with a sophisticated genius is evil. I mean, evil genius is genius. There's a genius to it. Don't underestimate it. At the same time, there's a lot of Achilles heels to their whole philosophy, and it always fails because dark always needs light. That's why they always attack people and ideas of Christ consciousness. They'll always attack it. That's why they're always attacking the word Christ. Have you noticed the word Christ is always attacked in movies? They use it as a swear word. But when you douse Christ, you go, could you show me the word Christ? Could you douse the word Christ? Watch it. It's going to go, where is it? 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. It is the highest possible on earth. That's a 10. Could you give me the word Buddha is a 10? You know? And all these other ways. I just said a word in here. That's an 8, 7.5. It's a biblical word for God. It's only a 7.5. Christ is a 10. So the reason you don't use that word as a blasphemy, as they say in the Bible, is you're hurting yourself when you do that. That's what it's really about. It's like, well, no one's going to come out and punish you, though they did, you know, they used to be a crime. But it's really against yourself to open you up to higher frequencies, you know? And this takes me to, I can go on and on and on, but I said this for a reason. When Christ came down, and I had a friend who was an African-American shaman. I should put his picture up for you. He passed away a number of years ago. And in about a year and a half, I had him at 110,000 views for a video we did. I interviewed him. But one time we were talking about the Christ energy, and he thought, and it's a very interesting idea, that it really wasn't important that the teachings of Christ, let's say, prevailed. What was important was his frequency and his energy, his footstep on the planet of a great avatar came down. It left this energy. And it grows. Though it's minute at first, it grows and grows and grows and grows. There's nothing the Luciferic people can do to stop it. That's why they use it, they attack it as a swear word in movies and in literature, and everybody's an atheist now in school. They're all celebrating. You know, if you had to put there's a lot to be said against, like, you know, evangelical type and Christian churches, you know, and I can go on and on, Buddhist organizations. They become organizations. And they that lowers the whole frequency. Even like Edgar Casey. Edgar Casey's a 10. But the organization he set up after he died, it gets lower and lower and lower after they die. Those things just happen. But the original founder, it doesn't negate him. or her. You know, they went out and they say, how can I do something onto this physical plane to raise its frequency and vibration? All right? So I wanted to say that because I wanted to say like a lot of these ideas I'm presenting shortly are they're high frequency. I'll douse them after and they go, okay, this tape is a 10, send it out. I send it out. But then it's attacked. And I haven't had a lot of them attacked because I only get 100 people. That's all I need. I don't need tens of thousands of people watching these videos. Because on the peripheral, I can see, for example, on the dog food one, I can see that these ideas are being picked up. So the dog food, I got like 1,000 views. All right. And then people go and get to say, well, someone is out there saying all this dog food is now inferior and actually toxic. What is happening? And of course, as we know, that is just an indicator of the culture in general that we're degrading everything that was good. All the good foods and all the good, we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I'm going in circles a little bit here. There's just so much coming in. Anyway, I just wanted to say I don't mind the lower observations because I know, like Christ's footstep, the idea eventually gets out there. And other people will use the scientific method, let's say, and study dog foods more in depth to say this. Anyway, I wanted to talk about William Davis, wheat, the unhealthy whole grain. For one, let's just say, I just wanted to douse his, here I am, the intention of his book and him, all right, the topic and him. Please give me, where are we with this book? So the book is essentially, it's about one of the lowest I've seen. It's below 1, give me a 1. Okay, it's 0.4. It's 0.4 of 1 star. This is extremely, extremely dark. All right? His topic, him, his thought, and his book. And his idea he's been pushing out there. And this book, and this topic, and this individual has this war on wheat. Wheat is not a perfect food, but it's way, way better than corn. All right? Corn is a 2. Wheat is like 4.5 on my scale. It's not toxic. Remember, on my scale, 4, everything below 4 is degrees of toxicity, which means it will actively kill you, make you sick, etc. And if you get near 1, you're really going to get sick. So, corn is a 2. I don't hear a war on corn. It's a war on wheat. Why? I have to get my thoughts organized here. There's 2 things I wanted to say. One, this has been going on for 40 years, before this individual even. And I remember talking to a professor from a university who, he said he was an expert. And one of the things he was working on was, he said, we're going to have to get rid of mechanized farming. Well, mechanized farming feeds the world, all right? So it's essentially what, if you follow his thought to the end, is we're going to starve humanity because we have to get rid of mechanized farming because of its impact on the environment. So, well, who is he going to kill? He is actually saying we're going to starve people out, is one of the things. The second thing is, so they're going after wheat, saying we can get rid of mechanized farming by switching people to different foods. Well, it doesn't give you the calories you need at a cheap level. Wheat is very cheap. It feeds the world, it delivers protein, it has high fiber, and it's a 4. It's not actively killing you. It's not a health food like oatmeal. Oatmeal is an 8. Now I'm talking regular oatmeal, not the stuff where they spray it. If they spray it with herbicides and pesticides, it's 8. But regular oatmeal, you can call it organic if you wish, is a 10. It is the highest frequency food all races can eat. it's a health food. It will make you healthy. You will be vibrant because it makes your colon, like clean and excited. It's a terrific food all around. Wheat has a different component. It doesn't vibrate as high, but it doesn't vibrate at the toxicity of corn. All right? It's an acceptable food. It delivers calories. It can feed the world. And whether we're using too much herbicide, pesticides, and Roundup on it, yeah, we are. And we're going in that direction. But attacking wheat, as we saw on our dowsing, we saw that the intention of this attack on wheat is an evil Luciferic intention. And that the whole concept, what they're arguing, is from a very dark space. And the outcome it's looking for is extremely dark. So, I put up his picture. I'm looking at my computer screen here. And he's from Milwaukee. And I saw a documentary done on him. And he's almost single-handedly created this war on wheat. They don't know what they're talking about. All right? They really don't know what they're talking about. And he actually knows what he's saying. The facts in his books are incorrect. Even from the scientific, it's incorrect. From your heart and your intuition, you know he's incorrect. Now, a lot of people saying, oh, gluten is bad. You can barely find it on the shelves now, gluten. But most people are not toxic to gluten, the overwhelming majority. All right? And I'm not saying we should be eating a large quantity of wheat, but it definitely stores well for years. Years and years and years. As I said, right here. What if the food supply is cut off in the United States? Well, I got whole wheat. It's been stored, it's organic. It's been stored here. I can mill it by hand or by a mill. I have a manual mill. So there's always food in a state of emergency. You don't have to wait for FEMA. And it will feed you. It'll keep you strong. It's a great food. Civilizations, Sumeria, were built on. So you only live 80 years. You don't live 150 on wheat. But you're eating worse foods than wheat. This whole war on wheat is very sophisticated. And most of the things he says is incorrect. So we're going to get my dowsing, my lapis, a beautiful sphere, what resonates with me very well. We're going to say, what percentage of his book is correct? Okay. What percent of his book is correct? I'm getting... I'm getting... Is that 10%? Okay. 10% of his book is correct. 90% of his book is incorrect. And that is the story here. This story is being repeated across our whole culture on everything. Everything's being twisted with this I call it pretzel logic. Parsing of words and twisting it, and everything innocent you say is turned against you, sort of, and by this twisted logic of basically satanic energies. And don't forget, all this darkness needs your light. Why is it trying to convince and control you? It needs your light, the light of your soul, the light of a free soul. And we're going to talk about, I'll do a video maybe today about how not only to maintain your freedom, but how to assert the freedom of your soul. Now this is different than the chain and shackle. This is things our soul takes on during our lives and before our lives, and we need to repudiate it. We need to get it off us to be free. And with the pendulum, you'll see how the frequency just takes off when I start talking about it. And only takes me 2 or 3 minutes to talk about this idea. I digress here. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say things like, these fashion, these diets that come around, and there are always these fad diets. They're always like, do something radical, give up some food. Everything in moderation is sort of okay. We live sedentary lifestyles. There are foods for us that we will resonate with. And in life we just have to go out and find which one should be it. Wheat is not the enemy, it's being made. All right? If you need to eat, eat it. If it'll give you calories to farm. It'll give you calories to do and carry out your job. And especially whole wheat. I'm not talking about refined flour here. And so I'm just showing this as an example. This is everywhere. This whole, making good stuff bad. All right? We have 6.5 billion. As you know, I've been saying the population of the world is going down and down and down. It's been going down for a couple of years now. And we're below 7 billion. We're like, I haven't done it. You want to get an update? Let's get an update where we are. They keep saying we're going to be 30 billion. We're not going to be any of that. We have to take away your rights because they're going to be 20 or 30 billion. We're going to put you in cages. No one can have freedom of expression because we're going to have 30 billion. That is what's being pushed on you. No, you are okay. Express yourself. Don't fear these people. All right? The anti-wheat people is part of what happened to the university. The universities aren't fun anymore. The universities in the 30s, for all their drawbacks, they essentially gave you an education where you can go out and go do anything you want. You really had the tools to think for yourself, more so than now, much more so. When I douse a degree, a university degree in the 50s to now, this one is social engineering. I called it the scientific man. You guys, I don't want to go into it, but the scientific man was really big when African countries got their independence. And what they wanted to do when Joseph Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, Milton Obote, Julius Nyerere, I know these people. You know what I mean? I lived in Kenya after they came to power. I was a teenager. I was really young. But anyway, Haile Mariam of Ethiopia, they took communism and they applied it to the Africa, because Africa basically had the extended family. Then you have the clan, and then you have the tribe. But they have very close relationship with the family. It's really, really tight. The extended family is very tight. And their view of the family compared to ours is totally different back then. So what they wanted to do is crush it. They needed to crush the extended family. But they took the value, the family of the group, and say, okay, this is where the difference between communism and communalism. So actually the extended family is more communal. You have, as the family grows, you put a hut next to it. So the extended family is there, and then another hut, and another hut. And that's communalism, which is like these orders in the Catholic Church. Those are all communal. You're taking communion with God. Communion. You get it? They're plain words, and it's very important, these words. Anyway, in communism, what they did, they took this concept and say, well, communism and communalism are the same thing. That's their trick. And they sold it to the people in Africa, and the suffering it caused was great. They needed to do this to come to the scientific man, which was a social engineered man without any culture from his past, any heritage. That's why they killed all the Russians. As you saw when the communists, they really basically went after the poor people. They killed all the poets right off the bat, and then they went after the poor people, which were Orthodox Christians. And they killed tens and tens of millions. It just went on and on. Because that's the scientific man. You have to wipe out these generations and then have control of the new generation, of the new thought. That's what's being produced by the universities today. That's the goal. We're going to have these scientific humans with no heritage. That's why you see the monuments being torn down. Well, the Constitution is a monument. I mean, eventually they want to tear all the monuments down. And So you have to pick a target where, yeah, we can argue, yeah, these guys were slaveholders and things like that. But you can go on and on. There's no stopping it. Because the people who wrote the Constitution were actually, some of them were slaveholders and some of them were not. You know? But they're going to say, well, because one of the two signatures on the Declaration of Independence were slaveholders, we can get rid of the whole document. We can get rid of all monuments. That's what they're going to go for. They're going to go get rid of everything. Well, who? So this is a scientific man coming through from the communist ideology. They call it socialism or liberalism, but you know, they're just attacking. They don't care where they're doing it. They're attacking from the left, and also they're attacking from the right. It's a pincer movement. It's coming at you, and I'm not sure, you know, if we can reform this thought process. You know, I'm not sure if we can stop this process of what they're doing to prevent it, to preserve freedoms, because that's the only way the soul can be free is in a society where it allows this to happen. And I don't think in a you'll get to the point where you as an individual, like in the Soviet Union, you had to keep, if you wanted to be free, you really had to be in your head and you could not express yourself. And we are going to go into that direction. You know, that's where they want. And everybody is bad. Every group is bad. Every race is bad. And we're going to get this new scientific man, and we're going to come out, and basically political correctness is one of the spearheads. That thought, that thinking. It's not that there's not some one or two good ideas floating around in there, but it's like total suffocation, subjugation of all humans. That's its goal. And you in order to get off this planet, I'm jumping ahead of myself, I know, because it's really, you go back to Edgar Cayce in the 1930s, and he's talking about when people die and the soul is free. Very, very few souls are free enough to, he says, it's like a shooting star. That soul takes off like a shooting star off the planet and does not reincarnate. Doesn't have to. She got rid of all her, and it's usually like a mother. It's usually a mother of children, and that's your last incarnation. You're finishing up on your relationships, your karma with individuals. And we have a society where even that minute of success can happen. But in communism, it's unlikely to happen. Or in this scientific man they're trying to create. And they want to turn everybody, and ultimately they need to turn everybody's soul. When they got your soul, and they keep putting these obligations on it, and you don't see it, these are etheric obligations. They're going to weight you down with political correctness, and the whole idea is to prevent you from increasing your frequency. All right? They don't want you to follow the frequency of the planet. The planet is moving up to a higher frequency. We are they going to win? Will this whole thing, this has been going on for hundreds of years. They've known this time is coming. They got to hold your frequency back, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to prevent you from succeeding. And literally, it's a battle for the souls. It's a battle for the souls. And you have to discern that for yourself, whether you want to be a free soul or not. No one can make this decision for you. If you're going to eat the pizza and watch TV, you're not gonna make it. Now, I'm not saying you can't do that occasionally, because you have family come over, and family time is important. So you can always have a pizza and watch something, but it's something you can't do every day, you know. And you get the gist of what I'm saying. So this battle, I'm back to the battle on wheat. What this guy is saying is essentially all lies. Even all his anecdotes in here, he makes an anecdote and say, oh, this is all true. You're going to get fat. You're going to get that. No, you're not. It's more important to survive and to respect food for what it is, and to know your own system, to find out how you can do it. All right, thank you.